So I am on the hunt again. Technically, I'm not on the hunt. Technically, I'm supposed to be delivering some fitness equipment to a customer. If you can see back behind me, my truck is loaded up with all kinds of equipment for a gym. But because I'm headed to Alameda, which is near Oakland, I thought I might hit a comic shop or two. So yeah, if I post this, my wife's gonna know I detoured. You might never see this video. We'll see. Be sure to visit our sponsor at regiecollects.com. So I just finished my delivery. Thankfully, it went incredibly smoothly thanks to a couple of guys that were there that were able to unload all of the equipment from the back of my truck. So I was in and out relatively quickly. Unfortunately, there's only one shop that is open right now because I finished up so quickly. So we're going to head inside. We're going to see what we can see. Hopefully it's a good shop. I've never heard of this place before, so I'm not sure what to expect at all. My hope is that by the time I finish here, Cape and Cowl will be open. That's a shop that I actually visited while at WonderCon, and it'd be cool to swing by the shop to actually see their store in its entirety. But basically, I am in Oakland right now. I was just in Alameda, and as I went from Alameda to Oakland, I passed through a tunnel. And let me just tell you, that line of demarcation is a very important one. Oakland is an interesting place. If you've never been to Oakland, it is a treat, okay? So if you are a comic book soldier, you've probably done some crazy stuff in the past as you've hunted for comics. Being here in Oakland reminds me of a crazy purchase that I made about a year ago where I met a guy on a street corner. He may have been a meth user. And I purchased some comics from him, some pretty nice comics from him. One of them was an exclusive rare variant of X-Force. It did not come with the Deadpool card, but it was a very rare comic. And I got a bunch of other stuff from him. But if you are on the hunt, from time to time, you will put yourself in situations that potentially aren't the best. But yeah, we're here in Oakland. We're actually going to hit a legitimate comic shop. I can't even remember the name of this place. I found it on the Google machine. So we're going to head inside. I'll try to, as best I can, shoot some footage for you guys so that you can see what this shop is all about. And definitely stay tuned until the end of the video, because if I actually do buy some stuff, I will show you guys what I picked up. So I just finished up here at the comic shop in Oakland. Sometimes when you go to shops, you're not quite sure how it's going to go. You're not sure if you're going to have a good experience or a bad experience. You're, of course, hopeful that it's going to be a good one, but you're never quite certain which way it's going to go. And that was very much my experience with this shop. I wasn't sure how it was going to go as I moved from, working with one person to another person, but it actually turned out to be a pretty solid experience as a whole. The shop was pretty sizable. They had a healthy amount of inventory of old books, new books, toys, games, cards, etc., etc. They actually had basically, I would say, a little less than a long box of Amazing Spider-Man. The books, unfortunately, always weren't in the best shape, but I was able to pick up a couple of books. I think that the prices were pretty fair. In one case, the price was better than I anticipated it to be, and that made the entire purchase a lot more worthwhile. And I'll actually show you guys all of the books, including that book that I'm talking about towards the end of this video. So overall, I think it was a great experience. This is the kind of shop that I would definitely come back to because they have nice inventory. And I also had a great conversation with a guy named Steven that made it really memorable. It's easy, as I said before, to go into a place and spend money and walk out. It's another if you can actually go and have a conversation that sticks with you, that makes the spending of money more enjoyable than just the tangible thing that you walk away with. So I'm actually sitting here in the car. I'm debating whether I'm going to go to Cape and Kyle. I'm actually going to pull it up to see how far away it is, because I would like to go back home sometime soon and get some food. But I may hit another shop on my way there. So stay tuned. Either you will see me back and I will be headed into another shop, or I will be doing the haul back in the comic book room. So I'm honestly not even sure how comic shops in cities actually stay open, because I have been circling the block probably for 15 minutes looking for a place to park the car. Not only were all the parking spots taken, but all the parking lots were full. So this is a little bit of a cluster, and if it hadn't been for me needing to make this video, I would probably not be going to this comic shop. But we are going to go to Cape and Kyle. It was 7 miles away from the last shop, so it's not too bad of a drive. I didn't expect the parking to be as big of a challenge as it has been, but it is what it is. So we're gonna head over here, make this walk, and hopefully be able to walk away with some cool books. So I am walking the mean streets of Oakland in an attempt to find my car. I had to park a couple of blocks away to get into Cape and Kyle, and now I'm walking back to the car. Had an awesome experience in the shop. Had a chance to meet two guys that I actually had a chance to engage with while I was at WonderCon, so it was nice to see those guys again. Also learned about the fantastic event that they're going to be throwing for Free Comic Book Day. So I may have to swing back up here to Oakland to actually be part of this event, because it actually sounds like an awesome event, and maybe I'll shoot some footage of that as well. So I had a chance to pick up a couple of cool books from Cape and Kyle. Not as much as I would have liked, but it is what it is, because when you're out hunting, you never know what you're going to find. So this time I came up a little short, but I did pick up some cool books that I will show you guys a little bit later today. I am back in the comic book room and ready to show you guys some of the books that I picked up today. As you saw in the footage, I actually hit two comic shops in Oakland, California earlier today. Two shops that I had never been to before. And it was honestly a fun experience. I had some great conversations with the guys that worked in the shop and the guys that owned the shop. And all in all, it was a pretty solid day. I walked away with a nice stack of books that put me further along in my process of completing my run of Amazing Spider-Man. So what you'll be seeing in this haul is primarily Amazing Spider-Man books. And I promise you guys, sooner or later, I will also show you some non-Spider-Man books that I find while I'm out hunting books. But because I am very focused on Amazing Spider-Man, that's why the majority of these videos that I've been doing are really focused on ASM. So hopefully you guys understand and appreciate that. So the books that I picked up aren't all that significant, with the exception of one. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about price in this video, something I normally don't do, but I'm going to do it because it illustrates a point, and I think it may help some people out there who are actually hunting comics themselves. So the first book that I picked up is it is an Amazing Spider-Man book. It's a cover I've honestly never really seen before. I've never seen it in the wild before. But it's a book that I definitely needed because it was on the list, because I don't have it. It is Amazing Spider-Man 221. And this is The Rage of Ramrod. I have never heard of Ramrod before, but I am definitely looking forward to reading this book. It is actually in pretty solid shape. This book came from Cape and Kyle in Oakland, and this book is in solid shape. The whites are whites, the colors pop. There's a few indentations on the cover that can be fixed with a press, no problem. But other than that, the book is in pretty solid shape. The inside pages down at the bottom aren't as white as I would want them to be. The overall page is really white, but there's about 5%, 10% on the bottom that isn't quite as white, and it's throughout the entire book. My guess is that they were at some point exposed to the elements. So again, a nice book, fair price for this one. Definitely pleased to have that one in the collection. The next one is Amazing Spider-Man 190, The Mayhem of Man-Wolf. This book is also in decent shape, but it has some things going wrong with it. The wrap isn't the best, and you can actually see that the pages are kind of exposed here at the very top, but kind of line up down towards the bottom. So not the best wrap on this book, but overall, the book is actually in solid shape. Two spine ticks over here in the black, but other than that, again, it's in good shape. There is actually no real significance to this book. That's why you don't see the white label that I normally put on books of significance. The next book, I've actually seen this book probably 8 times in the last couple of weeks, and I've consistently passed on it. And I've passed on it because almost every time I see it, it's not in the best shape. And this book really isn't significant. This is Amazing Spider-Man 128. Really nothing significant about this book, yet every time that I see it, it is worn. So when I saw this one for like $8, I had to pick it up because it's actually in solid shape. And it actually has no spine ticks, which is quite interesting. No spine ticks. There's a little bit of a discoloration there, which could be a printing thing. I'm not quite sure. But overall, the book is in solid shape. I've got a little dog ear up here at the very top. But overall, a solid book inside and out. And again, a nice copy. And I think this really speaks to patience. It speaks to not buying the book when you see it if the condition doesn't meet your criteria. Up until this point, this book had not, but today was a definite win. Next up, this is actually a really nice book. There's a little bit of discoloration on it, but it's one of those gorgeous yellow covers that you guys know that I like. Amazing Spider-Man 109 featuring Doctor Strange. And the book is actually in solid shape. When I looked at it in the light, there are actually no indentations of any sort in the cover, which is very surprising, but there is a little bit of some discoloration ever so slightly down here at the bottom. And again, maybe this book was exposed to the elements, but there's a little bit of discoloration. There's a little bit of a miswrap, and the inside pages aren't as white as they should be. This was one of the disappointing things that I kind of experienced today. Insides not as white as they should be. And again, outside pretty nice. Inside, not so much. But again, for the price and for the way that the cover presents itself, it made sense for me to pull the trigger on this book. It was a little more expensive than what I wanted to pay for, but again, the condition, again, with the cover is a little hard to argue with. This next book, Amazing Spider-Man number 58. This is one that I've seen a healthy number of times. Between WonderCon and all the hunting that I've been doing out in the community, this is one that I've consistently come across. No real significance to this book other than it being a really cool cover. But this book, because it is a dark cover, is just notoriously damaged. Lots and lots of spine ticks, spine wear, folds, creases with this particular book. And so when I saw this copy today, it was one that I had to have. And I think I paid $20 or so for this book, and it was worth it because, again, I've seen it lots of times for more than 20 in worse shape. And so to find one for about $20 in decent shape, there's a slight dog ear up here at the top, like ever so slight. There's a slight dog ear down here at the bottom and a few ticks on the spine, but nothing near what I've been seeing locally when I found this book, and also at WonderCon. This book, the colors pop, and it's a really nice copy. This one definitely can benefit from a press, because I think there's some pressable defects, especially over here in the Spidey area, but a nice book to have. Now, this last book, this is probably the best of the entire lot, which is why I did it in the order that I did it in. I, again, as with two of the books that I've already mentioned, have consistently seen this book in the wild. One shop that I went to actually had 5 different copies of the book. 5 copies, and all 5 were bad. All 5 were expensive, and I passed on every one of them. When I went to WonderCon, same thing. I could find the book, right? Everyone had the book, but they were all really priced high. And that's partly because of the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out. Molten Man is one of the characters that is actually featured in that new movie. And as a result of that, people have been raising the prices even on the low grades of this book. And it is a black cover. And you guys know, as I've already talked about, and as you know, black covers are really hard. And so here it is. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 28, the first appearance and origin of the Molten Man. I have his second and third appearance already. I think the third appearance actually came from TJ Watson, so shout out to you, brother. But this is a really nice copy, and I've, again, been holding off picking this book up because I wasn't able to find it for a fair price and in a condition that I was okay with. This one has some noticeable spine ticks. There is no doubt about that. There are some significant dog ears over here in the corner, but the book was $85. $85, and I would probably put this book with a press maybe at a 4, maybe at a 4, 3.5 to 4, if not slightly higher than that. The inside page color could hurt it a little bit, but this cover is not in bad shape. It still shows relatively well. It's in a Mylar, so that definitely helps. But even when it was out of the Mylar, the book appears to be in solid shape. It is complete. And again, it was $85. So it's really tough to turn away from a book like this that I want, that I need, that I found elsewhere for a lot more and in worse shape. So again, a fair price. Definitely pleased to have this book in the collection. Maybe at some point, this is one of those books that I would actually upgrade. I don't think that this book will ever get slabbed, but I may upgrade it in the future, either to a slab or to just a better copy. But I don't think that this is one that I would ever get slabbed. The same with the others that I showed just a few moments ago. So there you have it. Some more progress that is being made on my run of Amazing Spider-Man. A lot of people have reached out to me and actually asked me to do a video in which I actually show, all of the books to illustrate the progress that I've been making on the run. I promise that I'm going to do that at some point. I am literally picking up books, at least one book almost every single day. Sometimes I'm picking up, numerous books in a day. And so I'm trying to hold off to a point where I can actually show you guys a sizable run of books. So just bear with me because at some point I will deliver. I promise you that. So if you guys aren't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so that you can stay abreast of all the content that I release on a weekly basis. And if you need me, feel free to reach out at regiecollects on Instagram and regiecollects@gmail.com. And if you are out there hunting, to all of my comic book soldiers, I want to wish you good luck. This content is sponsored by BCW Supplies. Visit them at bcwsupplies.com.